Welcome to episode 2 of the VanDyk Mortgage West Michigan Conference Weekly Coaches Show. I'm host Cody Kater. Each week I'll be chatting with a coach and players from the West Michigan Conference football team. Last week we featured Whitehall, welcoming Vikings defensive coordinator Keith Stratton and senior brothers Jackson and Shane Cook. This week we bring in Hart head coach Joe Tanis along with seniors Trenton Swihart and junior Joseluis Andaverde. The Pirates are 1-1 on the season, coming off a 38-19 victory at White Cloud. This Friday, Hart hosts Shelby in the Battle of the Blood, Sweat, and Tears Trophy. Before we get too far into the show, we need to thank our sponsors who make content like this possible. First off, thanks to our title sponsor, VanDyk Mortgage Lakeshore. Thanks also to Foundation Systems of Michigan, Scheid Plumbing, Heating and Cooling, David Duesenberry of Coldwell Banker, Durga Insurance, Chris Dykman and Sarah Reel at Green Ridge, Big Stone Therapies, North Grove Brewers, and Grieve Law. All right, so now introducing our guests. Now time to shift the focus to our guests. Our Hart bounced back from a 22-8 season opening loss at home to Fremont by going on the road and earning a 38-19 victory over White Cloud. Jose is coming off a big game in which he rushed for a game-high 178 yards with 2 touchdowns on 21 carries, plus added 3 two-point conversions. Andaverde also shined on special teams, returning 2 kickoffs for a whopping 111 yards. That adds up to 289 all-purpose yards. On that note, now is a good time to introduce Jose, a 5'10", 157-pound running back and hard-hitting safety, as well as Trenton Swihart, a 5'9", 137-pound senior quarterback and safety. Both players, what other sports do you guys participate in?
I also play track and I do wrestling.
Okay.
No, I just play football.
You just play football, right? You focus on that football piece. So do you play track or do you run track?
I run track.
Oh, you run track. Yeah. Okay. So I always got mixed up with that one as well, because I think I did the same. When I was in high school, I played track. Cool. So Andaverde, you were part of the Hart's All-State 4x1 relay team, and both of you guys have been on varsity for the last 3 years.
Correct.
All right, cool. That's awesome, man. And then this is Joe Tanis' second year as Hart's head coach. He guided the Pirates to a 4-5 season last fall. His prior head coaching experience came at Orchard View, where he spent 7 seasons. Tanis also is a co-defensive coordinator for the West Michigan Ironmen's Arena Football League team in Muskegon, helping out Coach Smith there, who's on Reese Buffer's staff. Cool. So looking back at your guys' preparation going into the season, we'll guide this to you guys. You guys can answer this question. Preparation of the season, what was different this year than it was, in previous years?
For one thing for sure is we put a lot of work in the off season and cooperating, finding out work schedules and all that, getting people to show up and just show how much they want it. And we really showed that, and all the linemen are putting in the hard work. If we had something come up work-wise, we'd work it out, and they let the coaches know, and we were proud to see our guys show up, and we had big numbers. Good
deal. What have you seen that's different from, years previous? You guys have been both 3-year, starters. It sounds like. What's the big difference going into your guys' this year? As you kind of reflect back on your time on varsity.
Really, all the numbers we get better numbers than last year, and we all work together. Like Jose said, work schedules get in the way a little bit, but we work around that, make everything work.
All right, so it sounds like you guys are pivoting a little bit. You guys know that there's things in play, with other people's lives, but doing whatever you guys can do to make sure that you guys are, finding time to get, to get around one another, because we all know proximity is very important to team building. Coach, what is from your last 7 years, you were at OV for 7 years, and then your last 2 years here at Hart. What would you say has been the growth in your, I guess, just in your place as a head coach, but also what have you seen here at Hart that just makes you a magnet to continue to coach these guys?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I've grown in a lot of different ways. Early on. I think a lot of it's based, somewhat on ego, trying to prove yourself, trying to prove that you're good enough, that you can do it. I think as you get a little bit older, you realize that kind of stuff doesn't really matter, and you start to focus more on yourself. So I think the biggest thing is I've learned to take care of myself better. Early on, I tried to focus on everybody else all the time and pour all my energy into everybody else and didn't take care of myself. So now I'm trying to do a much better job managing my own energy, managing what I put into my body much better, sleep, all that kind of stuff, because I know that I need that to be the best version of me. So I think just getting older, learning how to manage that a little bit better, manage how to do it with family, and find that work-life balance, because it's very hard to do, especially when you're young. So that's one of the biggest things. And then just the people at Hart. It's really the people that attract me, that attracted me through the whole interview process. And then since I've arrived, just everybody has a overwhelmingly sense of gratitude. They're grateful for everything. And that just makes it a good environment to learn in and work in and be supported in. So.
Is it true that you live on campus or live pretty dang close to being on campus?
Yes.
Yeah, he lives right around the corner.
Yeah. So, yeah. We have like half of the school entrance on one side is our property. So, it's got the soccer field in my backyard. Wish it was a football field in my backyard, but
right.
I'll take the soccer field there. So,
right.
Yeah, it makes it cool. It's kind of like a small college environment, in my opinion, because everything's on one campus. So all 4 buildings, central office, elementary, middle school, and high school are all right there. So as a parent, it's pretty cool because then I'm able to bring all my kids to one spot.
Right.
We all split ways. So, yeah.
Right. And then do the kids ever just show up randomly and, looking to hop on the Xbox or, something along those lines at your guys at your house, or they want to stay clear from you?
Not too much yet. They come over on weekends.
Okay.
We've been spending some time there on weekends, watching some film, playing some video games.
Right on.
Eating a lot of burgers.
A lot of burgers.
A lot of team bonding.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. I mean, I think that's part of it, right? I mean, as you're trying to develop a program, but also just trying to build men of character, you want to be around them as much as possible so you can try to help guide, some decision-making processes. All right. So you guys obviously worked, it sounded like you worked to get the numbers up throughout the off season. What was it like prepping for that week 1 against Fremont? I know that's, it's not, they're not a crosstown rival by any means, but it's an area team that, you've heard of before, and you probably have participated in other sports against them. What was that preparation like? And what were the, kind of the emotions of that game going into this week 1 or into that week 1?
I'd have to say like week 1, it was nervous, like big nerves. It was first game. We were excited. After the scrimmage, we were excited. We got to hit a little bit, get them nerves out. And we were like, okay, week 1 is Orchard View. Coach used to coach this, so we're all super excited. We also got nerves.
Right.
And we were executing, doing plays. And I'd have to say we had some mistakes here and there at practices before the week we played, but we went out and played them, executed, and it was a lot of fun. Got the nerves out and all that.
Yeah, we had a big nervous week, but we prepared ourselves really well, I think. We went out there and battled our front line. They did all right, but come week 2, we did a lot better. And then along with week 1, I think we worked as a team pretty well. We all tried our best. We all gave our hardest all the way to the end.
What was the turning point, from week 1 to week 2, after you guys suffered that loss? What was that turning point going into against White Cloud? How did you guys prepare for that?
For sure, it was like a waking up point. Like, hey, it's not gonna be easy. We gotta put our heart into it. We're not gonna walk in there act like we own the place, and we definitely walked in there. High hopes, like it was gonna be a little bit easy. They hit us, we hit them. Found out we actually gotta work for it. We started working. We got what happened. We were okay with what happened. Went into week 2 against White Cloud, and we're like, okay, we know what we're going against, and we're just gonna give it our all.
When I say attack the storm, how can you kind of reflect back on that week 1 to week 2, that transition? How can Trenton? How can you kind of use that as a way of how you guys prepared for that week 2 after losing that week 1?
Coming off a loss week 1, really we got back in the storm a little bit, but our mental focus was there. Coming week 2, response was really good. We had a good week of practice, and then we came out and we battled against White Cloud, and we did our best, and we all executed very well.
With that adversity, coach, after week one, I thought a lot of work goes into it. You got, 2 weeks to kind of prepare for your team or with your team, but then you also have that scrimmage that you're trying to evaluate some players and evaluate, maybe even some schemes that you guys are drawing up. And then you go into that first week and you know that there's been a lot of, I'm guessing that there's a clock in the weight room or there's something along those lines where how much time is ticking down for that week one. How was it? How would you say that your speed or your team responded to you after that week one loss?
Yeah, I think our guys responded really well. We tried to talk about perception and response being the keys to our culture, and we saw it as just a football game. At the end of the day, it was a football game. We're going to wake up the next morning, life was going to go on, and we weren't going to make it anything more than that. So we try to take great pride in how we look at things, because if you're not scared of losing, then you can go out there and have fun. And if you don't make it, end of the world, this is the biggest game of my life type stuff. So we try to remove that fear a little bit, and just by having a proper perspective, because at the end of the day, in 20 years, they're not going to remember whether we won or lost to Fremont week one. It's not that big of a deal, but it's the memories and the bonding and stuff. So we work really hard to keep framing that message, and we work hard to respond to everything. So, we steal the E+R=O that everybody uses, and we just try to use it really well, and use it as a tool. So,
yeah. So you got you go into this the White Cloud game, you find success. Now you guys are hosting Shelby, and this is the Blood, Sweat, and Tears Trophy. You guys were able to win, this last year 70-12. What does this game mean to you emotionally, as you guys kind of reflect on maybe your last two battles as a varsity player against Shelby?
What do you mean by that question?
So emotionally, what does the game mean to you, Hart versus Shelby?
I mean, it's a big rival. We've always, as Shelby and Hart always butted heads. We always went back and forth. We're just gonna go out there and compete. We're gonna do our hardest. We're gonna give it our all, and we're gonna show what we got.
What does Hart have that Shelby doesn't?
I think our community.
Big R.
Oh yeah, we got big R too.
Big R.
Perma R. That's what we use. We use Perma R. You gotta respond.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good talk out of you guys.
We don't get down mentally.
Yeah, I wasn't following. I thought that's where we were going with it, but I still wasn't sure. So so you guys are saying that you respond differently than Shelby, and the community ties are maybe a little bit greater at Hart. Makes it maybe a little bit more fun to succeed against those guys. What would you say emotionally, Jose, this game means to the community, means to the hallways, means to the coaching staffs, means to the parents that maybe went to Shelby that now have their kids go to Hart, or vice versa? What does this game mean in those regards?
Like Trenton said, it's a big rival. Like he also said, we bump heads with each other. It's a lot. It's like we take it to heart. It's a big game. We love it. We just love playing them. And at the end, it's just like, it's all love. We go out, have fun, play hardest, give it our all, and if something happens. But at the end, we're all showing love. We say good job. We know the people. They know us. And the community loves Shelby, and Shelby loves us. And then, like, the 1 week prepping for it, it's a lot. So, like, we don't really talk about it. But for sure, afterward, it's just like, hey, that's cool. And then, like, all that.
Are there any traditions that maybe, like, the viewers would want to hear? Like, are there any traditions that Shelby, that they have, or any traditions that Hart has, or any traditions about this game? Like Montague, Whitehall used to meet on the bridge beforehand, like on a Thursday night. That was kind of a deal that was done previously, and then we brought it back. But what does, is there any traditions that you guys know of, between, Hart and Shelby that are kind of just unwritten, or that maybe people have heard of?
Not that I know of, besides the jug. The jug is where it's all at.
The blood, sweat, and tears jug. Okay.
As soon as we all see that, everyone goes crazy.
The years get put on it, and then where do you guys put that in the school?
We have it as soon as you walk down the hallway. We have a what's it called?
Big old trophy case.
Yeah.
Right next to the main office.
Okay, so you get to see it almost every day that you walk through there. You guys aren't in the main office in a whole lot, though, right? You guys aren't in trouble with Mr. Moran.
No,
that's a shout out to Mr. Moran if he's listening to this. He's a real dude.
We got to walk past the office to get into the school, though, so everybody sees all the trophies and everything like that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And then you get your years put on it too. So if you can bring your kids back to it, you can bring your other, whatever significant others back to it and be, hey, I was part of those years, right. That we kept the brown jug, in our hallway. That's a good deal. Coach, what does that rivalry mean? You've been a part of probably a few different rivalries. So what is the one that's so special about Hart and Shelby?
I think you have two communities that are pretty similar. So I think we're very much alike in a lot of ways, and there are two communities that really love their high school sports. So they show up and they cheer, and it's a great environment. Was able to see us play them in basketball this past year, and I was really impressed. The whole crowd, the gym was packed. So it gets everybody going. There's a lot of connections, people that have lived and grew up in one and now live in the other, like you said. So that just tight-knit closeness of the two communities is a big deal. And it means a lot to the people that have been a part of it, and all the people that have wore the jersey before us. So, we're just going to go out and try to do our best to honor all those people and do stuff the right way and do it the best we can and be good with it.
So what does Hart offer community-wise that Shelby community-wise does not offer? Could be food, could be gathering spots. What do we have here? Give me a little. I want to know more about this Hart versus Shelby.
We got a lot of sponsors.
Rivalry.
If you come to our field, we got all of our sponsors hung up on the fence.
So the communities.
So everybody that goes knows why we got everything we got.
Is the Bear Burger better than Hart Pizza?
Nah, I think the Bears. I think the Bear beat the Hart Burger.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they got pretty good burgers. Right?
Okay, that's interesting. When I go north, I'm gonna have to take some notes on that. Yeah. So going forward, with this year's team. What are some things that are going to stand in your way? And then what are also, give me like two things that might stand in your guys' way. And then also give me two things that you guys believe, that sets you apart from maybe previous years. So Jose, if you can go first, give me two things that, you're looking forward to the rest of the season, but that can possibly stand in your way, and two things that could propel you.
If I'm being honest, two things that might get in our way this season would probably be injuries. Like, we already had a couple injuries, but we stayed positive, kept our heads up, and good thing it wasn't like a very bad injury, so we got him back. But I think injuries is gonna be the main point, because you don't know when your year's gonna end. Like my coach said, you don't know when it's gonna end, and you don't know what's gonna happen the next day. So you want to make the best of that one day, give it all at practice, on the field, and just live it.
One thing that would probably hurt us the most would be injuries, or just people not staying committed. We're starting school soon, so people giving up on their grades.
So you guys haven't started school yet?
No, we start tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. So we start school tomorrow, and some kids don't like to do their homework, and that's what's going to kill us. We got to keep them there. Got to keep them mentally knowing that they have to do their homework to stay on the field,
Okay, Coach, what do you think? What do you think as you're looking forward to this season? You guys are sitting 1-1. You've got a big rivalry game coming up. What do you believe could be two things that kind of stand in Hart's way going forward?
Yeah, I think I'm going to echo a lot of what they said with the injuries, and then ourselves. Can we continue to show up and be the best version of ourselves every day and try to keep growing week after week? Can we battle that complacency if we do experience a little bit of success for us relative to Hart? How do we handle that? How do we move forward going with that? So I think those are some of the biggest things. We don't spend a ton of time on the opponents. We kind of talk about ourselves, and we know that we can control ourselves and our effort and all that kind of stuff. So, remaining humble or remaining hungry, and staying healthy. Because like they said, we lost a number of guys early on before the season even started. But we're lucky we get a couple guys back this week, and we're excited about that. So,
what Yeah, that's a great feeling, because I know we're kind of dealing with the same things, going through our program. We started school last week, so we got to fight through that adversity, and then we had a 2-hour trip to St. John's. That was, starting school, all those things that you guys just spoke about. I mean, you guys are hitting the nail on the head when it comes to the rest of the program. What has been the most rewarding part, Coach, from getting back to be this into this head coaching saddle at Hart, as you kind of review and reflect on your times and maybe in other places, what would you say would be the most rewarding part of that?
Really seeing everybody kind of come together, and the excitement that is kind of generated, seeing our coaches that have been there for a while have a new sense of purpose and energy about the program and the way they see it. We talk a lot about changing the perception of the program within other people looking at us, but how we see it in ourselves, how these guys perceive each other, how they perceive the program, and that kind of dictates, how committed we're going to be to it. Because if we see if it's something of value, then you're going to put forth that effort. So I think the most rewarding part is just being surrounded by a bunch of people who have the same vision. Starts with our superintendent, Mark Platt, and he wants our football program to be successful. And then our principal, Troy Moran, as you mentioned, he's a superstar in that role as well. And then our athletic director, Tim Hertzler. So we have a lot of vertical alignment that doesn't happen in most places. So there's not many barriers that I have to waste my time with, and we can really focus on the kids and the product on the field. So I'm just grateful to have all those people around me. And we have talented players, and that's why we were able to have a little bit of success last year for us, and that's why we hope to be able to continue that.
What have you done in the regards in the locker room and in the weight rooms and the hallways in regards to leadership? How have you built that, throughout the last, 2 years, but also looking at Hart's records, previously, before you were able to get there. Some people would say maybe the perception of the program, or maybe some people would say, there's not really that many good athletes there, or maybe other people would say maybe there's not a whole lot of leaders who focus on football. So what would you say that in regards to leadership, what have you done to try to target to ensure that you can get leaders like these two out on the football field?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, I probably haven't done as good of a job as I wanted to coming in with some of the leadership groups and all that kind of stuff that I wanted to get to. We have a lot of guys that play multiple sports, so it's hard to gather our guys in the off season. So still actually kind of feeling my way through that a little bit. But I feel like a consistent message with core values of our response and perception, and talking about growth, and it's a day-to-day thing, and just continuing to hammer that home day after day after day. You start to see the guys change. You start to see the guys think different. You start to hear the guys talk different and respond different to bad things. And that's been the most rewarding part. So it's really been more of the consistency of the message and the continuity of it, and having that core, I feel like, because I probably haven't done a great job in teaching the leadership stuff one-on-one and all that kind of stuff like I was hoping to do. Still hope to get there, but right now we're reading the book Twin Thieves together. So we read usually a chapter a day before practice, followed up with 3 little questions. And then we do some things that, try to open up to each other a little bit, express some vulnerability, so we can kind of understand that, hey, we're all going through stuff, and we all have these challenges. And just because, he rushed for 178 yards last week doesn't mean he doesn't have stuff going on at home, and same with this coach and all that kind of stuff. So I think just trying to bring people together and make it a good environment that people want to be in, and that's kind of been the biggest thing.
How much has that helped you guys? You guys have been a part of other programs, but how much has that helped you in your growth, Jose?
For sure, like the opening up to each other, that's like brotherly love. It's like opening up to each other, like we did like last week, brought out some tears, some grown man tears, It made a couple of people cry.
Are you calling yourself a grown man?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, yeah, I love it because, like, you don't really know other people's background until, like, you really know what's going on, besides football and school. And you find that out, and you can help them out bring them up more, and like you find that out about other people, and like the other people who are scared to stand out and like say something about it, they start to like slowly feel their way into it, and they start talking about it, and like that just makes a connection with everybody else. And I feel like if we have a strong connection, it's like we can't be stopped.
That's awesome, man. Swihart, what do you as a quarterback and a safety? So you're kind of seeing everything. You're kind of the director out there. How has that helped you with your leadership? You know, to have a coach that's pushing, you know, these kinds of principles along.
Since coach has been here, really, our guys before, like, we always got in our head. We always got shut down. But coach giving us that new culture and teaching us, like, hey, it's okay. Like, have a better response, and then everything will be good. It's like, go to the next play. It really has helped us a lot, and it's actually been really enjoyable. It's like before, like, football really wasn't like the top thing, but like now it's like it's standing out to people. It's like this guy, you know, making everybody better, making not us little guys like better gentlemen, but like it's helping everybody around us too. Yeah.
So the football is a driver of the culture in the school program, right? And it sounds like there's some alignment there at Hart where they're trying to make sure that we, you know, on Friday nights we have a product that we can be prideful of. Mm-hmm. I think that's the biggest thing with football as well. And every community, I just wish they could feel that type of pride, you know, after a Friday night game that you know, after the game is all done, that win or loss, but they feel a certain type of just commitment and feeling a certain type of like understanding of a brand, and they belong to something more than what it's supposed to be. I think that's so much. That's high school football, right? So, yeah, I think that's great, guys. I mean, looking at it, you know, from an outside lens and diving into that culture, it's helped. I think probably a lot of viewers understand what's happening up at Hart that might be a little bit, you know, different than other places. As you guys look forward in your guys' season, what is one thing you're really excited about, Jose?
I'm excited how we're going to end. I'm excited how our connection with everybody else is going to end, how the coaches, how they're going to respond to different type of situations, and how we're going to respond to different types of situations, because we're going to see stuff that we don't think that we're going to see. And I'm excited to see how we respond, including myself and others, and especially the coaches, because, you know, like Tannis be putting it out. He's like, you gotta have a big arm. You know, it's like, it's exciting to see them get put in a situation where we're like, okay, now we get to see it, how it all adds up. And we get to see, like, it add up here and there. I'm just excited to see how it all, like, at the end, how it all ends up.
Very cool. What do you think, Trenton? Where are you at? Or what is your kind of your goal for the rest of the season, and what are you excited about?
One of the big goals I really want is for everybody on our team just to grow together. Like, we practice with the JV, so we have to like help them not only be better at football, but to be like better people in general, like having a good response, or, you know, being able to just not let yourself get shut down. And I just really want to see us to grow. We've already started growing, but I can't wait to see what our final week's going to be like, see how close we are.
Coach, I know you have your earmuffs and your blinders on, and you don't want to look forward to the end of the season, you know, too much. I think, you know, I live in the same world. I have no idea what's going on tomorrow, to be honest, but we're here sitting around this table, and we just want to go home and watch more tape, I bet. But as you kind of look, you know, we reflected a little bit on your time at Hart and kind of where right here, right now in this moment, kind of what you guys are doing. But what would you say going forward that you kind of want out of this season, you know, for these kids?
Yeah. So, you know, I think the coach talk and the real talk is we want to be present in the moment every day, because it can be taken away at any time. Like, we're not guaranteed to see the end of the season. That's just the reality of life. So, you know, I want our guys to enjoy it every day, make sure that they understand that the relationships and all that kind of stuff, those are going to be the memories. But, you know, as coaches, we have a hard time as well. You start looking at your schedule before the year, and you start putting in your head, like, what could we be? And, you know, and you hope you want to get to the end and get there. So, you know, we're going to try to stay focused on every single day and just really enjoying that, because we got a great staff right now. I got great people around me. It's a lot of fun every day. There's very little drama or issues. everything kind of resolves itself pretty simply right now. So I'm just looking forward to continuing that and trying to try to get these guys to be the best version of themselves. But, I'd be lying if I didn't say we want to have a winning football season. That hasn't happened since 1997. And, we would like to probably push a little bit farther than just a winning season. But we try to measure, we're competing against ourselves. So we're looking for last year, we talked about setting a school scoring record and having the most wins since this time. So we're always trying to look and just say, hey, where can we be a better version of us, better version of Hart? Last year or this summer, our focus was all about our attendance, because we know we got to get guys to show up in the summer if we want to have a good product in the fall. So we put graphs together of last year's attendance versus this year's attendance and kind of laid them over each other and said, hey, this is where we're at. We're up by 30%, So hopefully we can, continue that and hopefully it works out and these guys get a chance to be on a winning football team at Hart, and that should be a big deal to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of pride that comes with that. So, well, I thank you guys for coming. I mean, this has been really good. I think we have insight of what's going on in Hart, and I think you guys are in great shape. I love the conversation that we're having. Just right before we get going, we want to thank our title sponsor again, VanDyk Mortgage Lakeshore, and also thanks to Foundation Systems of Michigan, Scheid Plumbing and Heating and Cooling, David Duesenberry, Durga Insurance, Chris Dykema, and Sarah Real at Green Ridge, Big Stone Therapies, North Grove Brewers, and Grieve Law. So that'll do it for this week's episode of VanDyk Mortgage West Michigan Conference Weekly Coaches Show. I hope you guys all enjoy the game and make sure that you guys, if you guys don't have anything going on in Hart Country or Shelby Country, to get to that game, and you guys can go watch that. Go watch that jug get passed, hopefully, and then kept over to you guys, in your hallways. And Mr. Moran and Mr. Christian can kind of have it off. And I'd like to see a nice little arm wrestling battle in midfield at halftime. Those are both guys that I worked with at Montague. So that'll be great. But thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.